I was having Yoshua Rico from StreetScores, and the Washington Commanders just worked out a former Cowboys defensive end. We're going to break down who that is and why he has a potential chance to maybe make this team and even have an impact. Also, the Washington Commanders re-signed a freak athlete at wide receiver again. We've already talked about him weeks ago, but we're going to break him down again for those of y'all who may have missed that. But remember, this is his second time now on the practice squad, so we got to dive into whether this is a realistic chance for him to really have an impact on this team as well. And then also, the Washington Commanders just took a huge step towards getting RFK Stadium back in DC as the next stadium. We're going to dive into all that and more, but before we do, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get a notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Really appreciate y'all for tuning in and pulling up to every video. I know it's been somewhat of like a down week after back-to-back losses, but we still got to remember we're 7-4. And shouts out to all of y'all that are still pulling up, liking the videos, leaving your comments and everything, viewing it, supporting the channel. Really appreciate y'all. And y'all already know I will be live streaming this upcoming Cowboys game. If you actually go look at my live stream section, I've already scheduled all the live streams for the remaining games of this regular season, so you already know I'm live streaming all of them, and I'm live streaming the postseason as well. I would schedule that one right now if I already knew who we were playing, but we don't know yet. We don't exactly know what time and day and all of that, but make sure y'all stay tuned for that. Without further ado, let's go and dive into this video, man. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so let's go ahead and get the RFK Stadium thing out the way. Then we'll talk about the Cowboys defensive end. Then we'll talk about the freak athlete wide receiver. Just to go ahead and give you a heads up before we get further into this video. So, big step for the Commanders' quest to potentially build a new stadium in DC because the Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources voted in favor of the RFK Stadium bill, and it was 17-2, almost unanimous. So, shouts out to Scott Abraham. He tweeted, "This is a big step forward. The Senate Committee has passed a bill giving DC long-term control of the RFK site. It's no longer belonging to like the government. It's like DC itself now. It's not federal, DC. This is important for a potential new Commander Stadium at the site. Advances now to the Senate floor for a full vote must be done by December 28th or it's dead. It's done. It's cooked. That's it. So by December 28th, they better get this stuff together, get this voted on if we really want to make sure we have this stadium in DC. Shouts out to Dan Steinberg for writing this. He said today's Senate committee vote was a win for DC, a win for the Commanders, and perhaps a loss for Maryland, whose governor said in a statement that the proposal to allow DC control of the RFK site is, quote, not in the best interest of the American taxpayer, unquote. So that's the Maryland side of it, but of course they want the Commanders to stay in Maryland. Of course, Virginia's doing whatever they can to try to get the Commanders to come to Virginia. But if you're somebody that wants to be a DC, especially at the RFK site, whether it's due to superstition because we were winning Super Bowls there, you want to get back there, or even if it's just like a neutral site because it's in the middle between Maryland and Virginia, so it's kind of like everybody wins. I've seen a lot of different arguments and debates as far as this goes, as why some people prefer it in DC. Why most people, it seems like, from what I've seen, most of the fan base, I feel like the larger percentage prefers for it to be in DC. Again, I'm in Atlanta, so either way, I'm gonna have to catch a flight. So to me, it doesn't honestly matter that much. So I just hope that like the majority of Commanders fans are happy. And if the most of the Commanders fans wanted to go back to RFK, that's cool with me. But again, I gotta fly anyway, and I wasn't alive to see any Commanders game happen at RFK. I was born after RFK was already, we stopped playing games there, so I completely missed all of that. So again, what makes y'all happy is what I'm rooting for. And it sounds like we're taking positive steps that direction. And then the team even made a statement. They said, this is from the Commander side, today's result is an exciting and significant step forward for the city of Washington, D.C. as it looks to gain long-term control of the RFK site. The Commanders have been fortunate to have interest from 3 incredible jurisdictions as we search for a new home and stadium. And I think, just to pause from the stadium real quick, this is a really unique situation that only happens to the Commanders. I don't think there's any other NFL team out there that like has 2 states and like even like a city that technically isn't a state, but also is a city that doesn't belong to any other state. So it's like its own third entity in itself. So we have three entities fighting over the Washington Commanders coming to this stadium, especially since Dan Snyder sold the team. Because at first, we couldn't get anybody to want us there with Dan Snyder still on the team. Since Josh Harris and Magic Johnson and those guys came in, it's been the opposite. They've been fighting over us, and they want us to come to their places. But this is a really unique situation. I feel like a lot of people who are fans of the Commanders, we've kind of gotten used to hearing about this situation, keeping track of it for the past couple of years, that we haven't really taken a step back and really processed how unique of a situation this is. Because Atlanta is just fighting. It's not about, like, for me, when they were doing the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, it was just about where is it going to be in Atlanta. There was no struggle of, well, maybe we should put it in Alabama, or maybe we should put it in Mississippi, states that don't have a NFL franchise or anything like that. There was never any of that. It was purely, and then Maryland already has the Baltimore Ravens, so, you know, shouts out to the Commanders and just the whole Northeast region where everything is so close. Major cities are so close to each other. You know, major state lines are so close that this is like a really interesting situation. I mean, most other teams, it's just okay, are we going to stay here or are we going to move somewhere else in the same state, in the same city? The Commanders, we're picking between three completely different entities right now. Two states and a whole city that stands on its own, the capital of the entire nation. But continuing with the statement, the vote today brings us one step closer towards continuing conversations with DC along with Maryland and Virginia as a potential future home for our franchise. And I like the fact that the team spokesperson made sure to keep it like open for everybody. It looks like DC is becoming more likely, but they're not just completely closing off the possibility on it staying in Maryland or even making a move to Virginia. Even though Virginia seems the least likely out of the three, I think it's between Maryland and DC right now if I had to put money on it. But I like the fact that they're keeping their options open. They're not just like, oh, okay, DC's making moves, we're going with DC. We're only happy about DC. We're beelining and just completely tunnel visioned to DC only. No, they're still like, you know, DC's looking really good right now, but Maryland and Virginia are still on the table, and I do like the fact that they're doing that. Now, also, I'm not sure how much this exactly matters, but Sam Fortier tweeted about the fact that Senator Steve Daines said that the Native American family credited with designing the logo is satisfied with the team's efforts to honor it and will change his position to support the RFK bill. Quote, there's good faith negotiation going on. There's trust being built, unquote. So it sounds like the move to RFK is starting to feel more and more like this is the most likely solution, because a lot of different parties involved seem to all be rooting for it going back to RFK and leaving Maryland. I feel like for me, the only advantage to Maryland is that they will have more space to work with. And I would love for the stadium to be some type of like big epicenter where it's like shops, malls, and movie theater. That's what I'm hoping for. I would love for it to be that. That's not necessary, but that's just what I would prefer. If I had one preference, I'm hoping that like the stadium is like a whole experience to where even outside of just Sundays, you can go there and still have a lot of different things to do. And I'm just, because RFK is so small, it seems like you would be less likely to be able to achieve that there. But still, I'm happy either way. And again, if most of y'all want DC, then I want DC too. Y'all like it, I love it. Now moving on to the next part of the video, the Commanders reportedly brought in former Cowboys defensive end Viliami Fehoko Jr. for a workout. Just to let you know, he's 6'4", 276 pounds, 33-inch arms, and 9-inch hands. This is a big guy. This is a big, strong guy. And if you're looking at the screen right now, his relative athletic score wasn't too good. Now, size-wise, he's good. Again, he's a big, strong guy. Even his bench press was pretty good with 24. It wasn't like great or elite or anything, but it was pretty good. And then his speed is pretty good for a guy his size as well, but he lacks explosion and he lacks agility based off of what he did at the combine. Now, a little bit I have seen of like a couple of highlights that I could find before I started recording this video. I feel like he is more athletic than his relative athletic score tells you based off of, again, what he did at the combine. So that's on him. You know, we can't blame anybody but him for the reason that he didn't look as good at the combine. He didn't put up great numbers. But again, when you go look at him actually move on tape in like full uniform, helmet pads and all, I feel like he looks more athletic than a 5.34 out of 10 relative athletic score. But that's just me. I'm not saying he's just this freak athlete or anything, but when you see 5.34, you just kind of assume that he's like not very athletic at all. But I think he would surprise you if you actually looked at him move a little bit. But random interesting update. Fehoko is the second cousin of NFL nose tackle Vita Vea, and his father worked as a chef at the Bay Area restaurant that was owned by NFL wide receiver Dwight Clark. And he can also speak both Tongan and communicate in sign language. So shouts out to him. Now, he went to San Jose State from 2018 through 2022. Again, of course, he's a defensive end, edge rusher, whatever you want to call him. He was selected by the Cowboys in the 4th round of that 2023 NFL draft, 129th overall. He was declared inactive for the first 9 games, though. The Cowboys didn't really like him that much. And remember, last year, 2023, Dan Quinn was the defensive coordinator, and Joe Witt Jr. was their defensive passing game coordinator. Now, Dan Quinn is the Washington Commanders head coach, and Joe Witt Jr. also got a promotion to become our defensive coordinator, transitioning from the Cowboys to the Commanders. But remember, both of those guys were with the Cowboys when they drafted this guy in the 4th round. And I know 4th round picks aren't supposed to just automatically be Pro Bowlers or anything like that. But for you to take a guy in the 4th round and then he's inactive for the first 9 games and it's not due to injuries just because they didn't really like how he played, I mean, that just sounds like a huge reach to me. I mean, even the fact that he's available right now, we just signed him off the streets. It's not like we had to trade for him or anything like that. And for you to be a 2023 4th round pick and you're already available, but then again, we can't talk because we have Emmanuel Forbes right now. And I'm still rooting for him, but it doesn't look too good for him. That's a 2023 1st round pick that we can't even get anything for leading up to the trade deadline. So who are we to talk? But still, that's crazy. 4th round pick just from a year and a half ago. And he's already no longer on the Dallas Cowboys. So there must be something there. I don't know what they saw in April compared to what they saw in August, but apparently it was a huge difference because they wouldn't have taken him in the 4th round. You don't take a guy in the 4th round you don't expect to play for you for the first 9 games as a healthy scratch. That's crazy. Even with Emmanuel Forbes, we benched him at a certain point, but at least he got to play early on. He was out there. He just didn't play well. But to just be a complete healthy scratch the first 9 games is insane. Why did you even draft him in the 4th round? Who was the one that made that draft pick? It couldn't have been Dan Quinn with the fact that he couldn't find a way to get him on the field. But either way, he was eventually placed on the injury reserve with a knee injury as of November 18th, and then he was activated on January 3rd, 2024, and then he was declared inactive for the season finale and the playoffs. So any chance that he was healthy, they still didn't give him an opportunity to play. He has yet to play in an NFL game. Not even just start, just play at all. In 2024, the Commanders hired new defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer, who made changes on the defensive line personnel, and Fehoko struggled during training camp again 2 years in a row, playing at both defensive tackle and defensive end. So they tried. They really tried. They were like, we'll try you at edge rusher. Maybe you're better as like a situational pass rusher from a defensive tackle standpoint. Like as an edge rusher, maybe you're more of a run defender. Maybe as a defensive tackle going against bigger guys, maybe you'll have the speed explosion to get by those guys as a pass rusher. Neither have worked. They tried everything. Defensive and defensive tackle didn't necessarily work out for those guys. And mind you, that's also with Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence both hurt for a lot of this season so far. They still didn't feel like they could figure out a way to use him. So he was waived by the Cowboys with an injury designation as of August 26th before the season even started. But the fact that when DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons both went to the injury reserve and they still didn't call this guy to bring him back, I guess that should probably tell you everything you need to know. And then he was waived from the injured reserve on September 3rd, 2024 from the Dallas Cowboys. So he's basically literally been a free agent this entire season and just waiting for any opportunity to get on the field. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm keeping it that way with y'all. With the fact that we didn't sign him, I believe it's safe to assume that he didn't impress his former defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, too much. All I have for you, like I already said, is that he came in for a workout. We didn't sign him to the active 53-man roster. We didn't sign him to the inactive 53-man roster. We didn't sign him to the practice squad. Nothing. Just worked out and then left, apparently from what we know so far. But I wouldn't write him off just yet. We'll see. I'm going to keep y'all updated on that situation if anything changes. But right now, as of today, he is not signed by the Commanders as of what I've heard from guys like Nikki Javala, well, people like Nikki Javala, John Keim, and all of those people. But you know who is signed to the Washington Commanders? Apparently, the Commanders have brought back wide receiver Michael Strahan. I believe I saw somebody in the comment section say that's how you pronounce his name, because I believe he is from the Bahamas, and I think that's how you pronounce it. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Let me know if I did, or if I didn't, please correct me if I did not. But either way, Mike Strahan has been signed to the practice squad again. And if you're looking at his relative athletic score, completely different story. Elite size, 6'5", 230 pounds, and he put up a 20 benchmark. out of receivers, that's elite. Like, for any receiver to put up 20 is insane. Mind you, the defensive end we just talked about, the ex-Cowboys defensive end, put up 24 as a defensive end at 280 pounds. This guy is 230 pounds and put up 20, only 4 less. I'm telling you, this Michael Strahan guy is different. Then his explosion grade is good, even though his vertical is what brought it down. That would have been great or elite if he only had did the broad jump. His broad jump is insane, but his vertical wasn't too good. And then his speed, his 40-yard dash was really good, but his 20-yard split, 10-yard split weren't that good either. And then his agility was all right. Those were pretty good. All of that was pretty good. But overall, it's still 9.77 relative athletic score, as you can see on the screen. And basically, there is loads of potential here just based off of his athleticism alone. But remember, want to remind y'all, we've been here before. We signed him to the practice squad a few weeks ago, and then nothing impactful came from it. He was never elevated to the actual 53-man roster, just strictly stayed on to the practice squad. But there must be something there with Michael for them to double back on him and bring him back once again to the practice squad. So let's see if anything comes from this. Sign it, this time around, maybe. Y'all know I love the super athletic, made in the lab type of guys. He's that. But they don't always just immediately end up being great players. Just because you can run fast, you can do things physically that other people can't do, that doesn't automatically translate to you being a great player. It gives you advantages in certain ways. It gives you a lead in the race, but it doesn't automatically give you first prize just off of that alone. So I'm rooting for him, but I'm just letting you know, do not hold your breath. Because even just looking at his history, this is a guy that went to Liberty Christian in Lynchburg, Virginia. So he's a local guy. College, he went to Charleston from 2016 to 2020. He was drafted in the 2021 draft in round 7. They're like near the end, 229th overall, very, very close to the end of the draft. They just wanted to give him an opportunity. I'm pretty sure that when an athletic freak goes in that late in a draft, typically he was drafted because like he has measurables, he has traits, he has certain athletic tools that they just don't grow on trees. They just don't come around often. There aren't a lot of Michael Strahans out there athletically. 6'5", 230 pounds, and can run and move that fast, that explosive and things like that. But for him to make it that far is because of, like, again, he went to Charleston, so low level of competition, looking at his tape, and then even then, he didn't wow enough on his tape for you to assume that when he goes to the NFL level and starts to go against defensive backs and defensive players from teams like Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, LSU, and those guys, that it's going to translate. He's just suddenly going to figure it out. He didn't pop on tape at Charleston versus Charleston level competition. Why would we assume he could do that at the NFL level? But again, you take a risk on a guy like that in round 7. That's when you draft athletic freaks like that, and that's what they did. It hasn't necessarily worked out for them, though, because again, the Colts drafted him in 2021. He stayed there until 2023. Then he went to the Carolina Panthers in 2023, and then he's been with us twice in 2024. For the Colts, he only played in 6 games, and he only received 3 targets, 2 receptions in those 6 games. With the Colts as well in 2022, he played in 13 games, had 9 targets, only 3 receptions. That's not good at all. To only catch 3 of your 9 targets is not good, but he caught them for 60 yards, so he's almost averaging 20 yards per catch. This is a very explosive guy. Even going back to 2021 for the Colts, his 3 targets in the 2 receptions he had went for nearly 30 yards. This is when he does catch the ball, it's for explosive plays. Maybe that's what we're banking on, because for the Carolina Panthers, he technically started 1 game, but he played in 4, and his 1 reception on 3 targets was for 45 yards. I mean, this guy's average yards per reception is insane. For his career right now, his average yards per reception is a 21.7. Every time this guy catches the ball, he nearly goes for 22 yards. He also has quite a bit of first downs. Like in 2021, his 2 receptions went for 2 first downs. In 2022, out of the 3 receptions he had, all 3 of them went for first downs, and the same thing in 2023. The 1 catch that he had on his 3 targets went for a 45-yard first down as well. So every catch in his career has gone for a first down. How explosive this guy is unprecedented. It's just whenever he touches the ball, it is a guaranteed first down. The problem is getting them open. The problem is even when you throw it to him, is he going to catch it? But if he does catch it, guaranteed first down, literally 100% of the time in his career. He's a really weird guy to study. I'm really intrigued, man. I hope it works out. Again, like I already explained, don't hold your breath. Because, I mean, he's been this explosive, been this athletic for years now, and it just hasn't necessarily translated at the NFL level in actual regular season games. But who knows, man? Maybe something will click in our practices to where we're like, okay, maybe this guy has earned a shot off of the practice squad to maybe play in a game just a little bit. I'm not saying he's going to automatically skyrocket up the depth chart and become wide receiver 2 over Noah Brown under Terry McLaurin. I'm not saying anything like that, but who knows? Maybe something clicks. Again, guys like that don't grow on trees, and stats like that definitely don't grow on trees. Every one of your receptions so far in your career have gone for first downs. You're averaging nearly 22 yards per reception. Is insane. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please still farm that like button, still farm the subscription button, and still farm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Really appreciate y'all. If you made it this far in the video, big shouts out to you. Really appreciate that. Make sure you please still farm that like button on the way out. And of course, let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in this video, especially the 3 main topics. How do you feel about the chances of the Commanders' next stadium being in DC at the RFK site? Do you prefer that or do you not? Also, and then of course, let me know why, please, as well. Also, let me know how you feel about the ex-Cowboy that we worked out today, Mr. Fajoko. And then also let me know how you feel about us bringing back Michael Strahan again to the roster for a second time this season. Only on the practice squad, though. This is not the 53-man roster. This is the practice squad. But let me know how you feel about that. Is there some potential there? Do you feel like we're trying to unearth? Let me know about all of that. I'm going to try my best to read and reply to as many comments as possible. I really appreciate y'all. I'm going to catch y'all later. I'm out.